I am not one of those who panic in the store. I've been going to Costco for years. I know where everything is. I know which days are better for fresh pastries. I know when to avoid the ticket counters at the entrance. But a few months ago, I found myself standing in the middle of a warehouse and couldn't find what I'd been buying every month for 3 years. I just don't. The shelf is different. The price tag is someone else's. And no explanation. I started asking the staff. I started reading the supply reports. I started to notice a pattern. And here's what I realized. Costco removes goods quietly. No emails. No ads. One day you just come and they're gone. Today I will show you 15 such positions. Some have already disappeared. Some are disappearing right now. And one of them, number 7, took even me by surprise. Subscribe before you forget. This is exactly the channel that you should subscribe to before something happens, not after. Product number 1. Kirkland Signature Organic Soy Beverage. Let's start with one that already hurt a lot of people. This one is already gone. And I mean gone. Not temporarily out of stock, not seasonal. Gone. Kirkland Signature Organic Soy Milk was a staple for dairy-free households across the country. It was affordable, it was clean, and for a lot of people it was the main reason they kept their Costco membership. I'm serious about that. People on forums said exactly that. The soy milk was why they paid for the card. Then, in early 2025, it started disappearing from warehouses. First a few locations, then everywhere. When shoppers emailed Costco directly, they got a reply confirming the product had been discontinued due to slow sales. That was the official word. But here's the thing. The reaction online was enormous. Threads with hundreds of comments, people calling it devastating. One person wrote they were in shambles. Another said the Kirkland soy milk was the best dairy-free milk they had ever found. I stocked up on 6 cartons when I first started seeing spotty inventory. At the time, it was around $14 for a 6-pack. I stretched that over 2 months and kept watching the shelves. By the time I needed more, it was already gone everywhere near me. Shelf-stable soy milk does great in a cool, dry pantry. If you can find any remaining inventory at a Costco business center or through a third-party seller, grab what you can. The brands replacing it on store shelves are costing shoppers noticeably more per carton. You don't want to be scrambling for a substitute when prices are already climbing. This one is a lesson in how fast things disappear once Costco makes a decision. Product number 2. Kirkland Signature Semi-Sweet Chocolate Chips. This one stings for anyone who bakes. Kirkland Signature chocolate chips were a pantry staple for millions of households. A huge bag, a reasonable price, and they worked perfectly in cookies, brownies, muffins, everything. Then the cocoa market went sideways. Cocoa prices spiked dramatically in 2024 and stayed volatile into 2025. The cost of producing chocolate-based private label products at Costco's famous price point became impossible to maintain, so the chips were discontinued. Kirkland quietly stepped back and let Nestlé Toll House fill the gap on the shelf. I bought a 3-pound bag about a month before they fully disappeared from my location. Paid about $10. At that unit cost, Kirkland's chocolate chips were genuinely hard to beat. The Nestlé replacement that took its spot is running about $4 more for a smaller bag. The good news is that chocolate chips have a longer shelf life than most people realize. Stored properly in a sealed container in a cool, dry place, they can stay good for up to 2 years. A chest freezer extends that even further. If cocoa prices stabilize, and some industry reports suggest they may, Costco has hinted the chips could return. But the timeline is uncertain. For now, stock what you can find at the best price and store it well. Product number 3. Kirkland Signature Country French Bread. This one hit families with picky eaters especially hard. The Country French Bread was a 2-pack from the Costco bakery that sold for around $6. Clean ingredients, no additives, and it made families feel like they were getting real bread at a wholesale discount. Shoppers loved it. Then it quietly disappeared. A Costco bakery employee confirmed to a shopper who asked directly that it had been discontinued. The replacement product that followed did not win many fans. People in store comments and on forums described it as a noticeable downgrade in both taste and texture. I used to grab this almost every other trip. At roughly $3 a loaf before slicing, It was one of the best values in the whole store for a family that goes through bread fast. The replacement costs more and delivers less. Bread obviously doesn't store long-term fresh, but a few tactics help. Buy extra and freeze immediately. French bread freezes beautifully when wrapped tightly in plastic and then foil. It thaws in a few hours at room temperature and tastes nearly identical to fresh. The lesson here is that Costco's bakery section is more vulnerable to change than people think. Don't assume a product will always be there just because it's been there for years. Product number 4. Kirkland's Signature Organic Tomato Sauce. This one is still on shelves right now, but I want you to pay attention to it closely. Kirkland's Organic Tomato Sauce comes in a 12-pack, and it's been a go-to for pasta nights, chili, pizza, and soup bases. Priced around $14 for the case, the per-can value is strong. But the supply chain behind it is under real pressure. California tomato farming, which is where Costco sources these, is in trouble. Processing tomato acreage in California has dropped to a 50-year low. Canneries are facing rising operational costs. Extreme heat and drought have hammered crop yields. The infrastructure behind canned tomato products is quietly contracting. I noticed the 12-pack creeping up in price over the last year. I bought 2 cases when I spotted a brief dip back to the original price point. That was about $28 for 24 cans of organic tomato sauce. If I had to replace all of that today at grocery store prices, it would cost me significantly more. Canned goods are a prepper's best friend for good reason. Properly stored tomato sauce lasts 2 to 5 years in a cool, dry location. I rotate mine by stacking new cans behind older ones and always using the oldest first. If you see the asterisk on this price tag at your Costco, that little star that members call the Death Star, that means the item is not being restocked. Pull over and grab everything you can carry. Product number 5. Kirkland Signature Organic Extra Virgin Olive Oil. The price on this one has doubled in the last 3 years, and I don't think it's going back down. Olive oil has been experiencing a genuine supply crisis. Extreme heat waves in Spain, Italy, and Greece, the world's top olive-producing regions, have devastated harvests multiple seasons in a row. The olive fruit fly, made worse by warmer temperatures, has destroyed crops across large parts of the Mediterranean. Supply is structurally lower than it was before these climate events, and demand continues to grow as Mediterranean-style eating has become more popular. A 2-pack of 3-liter Kirkland olive oil was around $25 a few years ago. By 2025, it was over $50. That's not a blip. That's a fundamental shift in what this product costs to make and ship. I buy the 2-liter organic format, and I stock 2 to 3 bottles at a time now. The last time I bought it, I paid around $22 for a single 2-liter bottle. That still beats most grocery store pricing per ounce, but it's a long way from where it was. Olive oil stores well for up to 18 months in a sealed container away from heat and light. Do not refrigerate it. Cold temperatures make it solidify and affect quality. A dark cabinet works well. Buy it when you see it at a price you trust, because the next time you look, the price may have moved again. This is not a product that's going to get cheaper. Stock what your budget allows. Product number 6. Kirkland Signature Guatemalan Whole Bean Coffee. Coffee lovers, this one is going to sting. Kirkland's Whole Bean Coffee has been one of the best values in the Costco pantry section for years, but prices have been rising sharply. The Guatemalan Whole Bean 3-pound bag went from around $14 in 2024 to nearly $20 by spring 2025. That's a 40% increase in less than a year. The reason is real, and it's not going away quickly. Extreme weather has devastated coffee crops in Brazil and Vietnam, the 2 largest producers in the world. Reduced yields combined with steady global demand means prices at the supplier level have surged. Every major coffee brand has been absorbing or passing on those costs, and Kirkland is no exception. I buy the 3-pound bag, and I go through about 1 a month in my household. When I saw the price climbing, I bought 4 bags at once while the price was still closer to $15. I spent $60 and protected 2 months of coffee at the old rate. At today's pricing, that same amount would run me nearly $80. Whole bean coffee stays fresh longest when stored properly. Keep it in an airtight container, away from heat and light. Do not freeze it if you're opening it frequently. Freeze only what you won't use for at least a month in a vacuum-sealed bag. Coffee kept well can hold quality for 6 to 9 months. Buy ahead when you see a stable price, because the forecast for coffee costs over the next 12 months is not encouraging. Product number 7. Kirkland Signature Paper Towels. This one is technically still on the shelf, but what you're getting now is not what you used to get, and that distinction matters. Shoppers have been noticing for a while that Kirkland paper towels have quietly changed. A TikTok video with nearly 2 million views showed 2 rolls bought just a month apart. Same price, same packaging, different sheet count. One had 160 sheets per roll. The next had 140. 20 fewer sheets. No announcement. No price drop. That is textbook shrinkflation. You're paying the same or more and getting less. And it's not just the sheet count. Reviews from 2025 describe the absorbency and durability as noticeably worse than earlier versions. One shopper wrote that they now go through a full roll in a week, when a single roll used to last an eternity. I compared my most recent purchase to the rolls I bought 6 months prior. The difference in thickness is real. I could feel it. A roll that used to handle kitchen spills and wipe downs without tearing is now noticeably thinner. Paper goods store indefinitely when kept dry. Stock them when you find genuine value. But also keep an eye on competing brands. At some point, the per-sheet math may shift enough to make Bounty or another brand a better deal. Do not assume the Kirkland label automatically means the best value anymore. Verify the sheet count every time you buy. Product number 8. Kirkland Signature Sport Drink Variety Pack. Okay, this is the one I told you to wait for. Number 8. And it genuinely surprised me. I thought this product was bulletproof. A 24-pack of 20-ounce bottles in 3 flavors, orange, blue raspberry, and fruit punch, at a price that was far below Gatorade for a comparable electrolyte drink. It was sweetened with cane sugar, not high-fructose corn syrup. One Redditor called it 10 times better than Gatorade, and I agreed. Then, in the fall of 2025, it was gone. Shoppers started noticing the cases weren't being restocked. When they talked to store employees, they were told the product had been discontinued. A Costco response to one member confirmed it directly. The variety pack had been pulled from production. I had 6 cases in my garage when it started disappearing. I thought I was being excessive. I was not being excessive. By the time people realized what was happening, the shelves were already bare. If this ever comes back, and there are vague hints it might return in a smaller bottle format, I will be the first one telling you. But for now, it is gone. And the replacement options at retail stores run close to $2 a bottle for comparable drinks. Store sports drinks in a cool location out of direct sunlight. They have a shelf life of about 18 to 24 months. In a prepping context or for high hydration households, a case of sports drinks is not a luxury. It's a smart supply. This one genuinely stung. Stock up on whatever you find as a comparable replacement before prices climb further. Product number 9. Kirkland Signature Maple Syrup. Real maple syrup is one of those pantry items that people don't think about until they need it, and then they need it badly. Kirkland has offered bulk maple syrup that undercuts most retail prices considerably. But the supply chain behind pure maple syrup is narrow. It comes almost entirely from specific growing regions in Canada and the northeastern United States. A bad sap season, caused by temperature swings or late spring frosts, can cut production significantly, and those weather events have been more frequent. Industry insiders have flagged cost pressures on maple syrup that make it a candidate for price increases or size reductions in the near term. If Costco determines it can no longer offer a competitive enough price per ounce, the product becomes a candidate for rotation out. I keep a gallon jug in my pantry at all times. The last time I bought one through Costco, I was paying noticeably less per ounce than at any grocery chain nearby. I grabbed 2 the last time they were in stock at the strong price. Sealed pure maple syrup lasts indefinitely. Once opened, refrigerate it, and it will stay good for at least a year. If you see mold, it can be skimmed, and the syrup is still safe. Just bring it to a boil first. This is one of the most durable real food sweeteners you can store. Buy a backup jug next time you're in. You'll thank yourself. Product number 10. Kirkland Signature Organic Coconut Oil. Coconut oil has had a complicated few years in the supply chain, and Costco's version is not immune to those pressures. Kirkland's large organic coconut oil container has been a staple for health-conscious households for years. It's used in cooking, baking, skincare, and more. But sourcing pressures, particularly from the Philippines and Indonesia, the dominant global producers, have created cost volatility. There are active conversations in retail sourcing circles about whether large-format private label coconut oil remains cost-viable at the margins Costco needs. I buy a large tub every few months. The price has ticked up noticeably over the last 2 years. What used to sit comfortably around $16 is now closer to $20 or above, depending on the warehouse and the week. Coconut oil is one of the most shelf-stable fats you can store. In a sealed container at room temperature, it lasts 2 years easily. In a cooler location, it lasts longer. It does not need refrigeration. It will solidify in cold temperatures and liquefy in warm ones. Both are normal and safe. Buy 2 next time instead of 1. If prices climb further or the product rotates out, you'll be covered for months. Product number 11. Kirkland Signature Organic Chicken Stock. This one I buy every single trip, and I've started buying more than I used to. Kirkland's organic chicken stock has been a reliable, clean, bulk pantry item for soups, grains, sauces, and braising. It comes in a 6-pack, and the per-carton price is well below what you'd pay at a regular grocery store for organic stock of comparable quality. But organic poultry supply chains have been under consistent pressure. Feed costs have been elevated. Labor costs at processing facilities have increased. When those input costs rise, private label products like this one become harder to sustain at low margins. Reformulations or size reductions are often the first quiet sign of trouble. I bought 4 6-packs on my last major stock-up run. That was 24 cartons, which sounds like a lot until you realize how fast soup season goes. My total cost was around $50 for all 24. The equivalent at my regular grocery store would be well over $100. Aseptic cartons store beautifully. Unopened, they last 18 months to 2 years at room temperature. Stack them in a pantry, a closet, or anywhere cool and dry. Once opened, refrigerate and use within 5 days. If the price tag ever shows that asterisk, load your cart immediately. This is a product worth protecting. Product number 12. Kirkland Signature. Frozen ground, sirloin, beef patties. This one is already gone at most locations, and shoppers are still frustrated about it. The 18-pack of Kirkland Signature ground sirloin patties was a freezer staple for grilling households. At 85% lean and 15% fat, the fat ratio was just right. Leaner than typical burger patties, but still flavorful enough to cook from frozen and come out great on the grill. Then shoppers started noticing them missing right after the 4th of July holiday in 2025. Most assumed it was post-holiday sellout. It wasn't. The patties never came back. What's still available is 80% lean, 20% fat. Higher fat, different cooking behavior, different flavor profile. A grass-fed option exists but costs more. Neither is an identical replacement for the ground sirloin patties that tens of thousands of households counted on. I had 2 packs in my freezer when this happened. Each pack cost around $20 at the time. Comparable quality at a standard grocery store was running closer to $30 for the same quantity. If you have a deep freezer, keep it stocked with ground beef you trust from whatever source offers the best value right now. Vacuum-sealed portions last up to 12 months frozen with quality intact. Label them with date and fat content so you're never guessing. The lesson here is that popular frozen proteins disappear without warning. Don't wait until the freezer is empty to replenish. Product number 13. Kirkland Signature Chocolate Chunk Cookies. Individual packs baking lovers already lost the chocolate chips. But there's a connected casualty that's hurting lunchbox households. Kirkland Signature used to sell a box of 30 individually wrapped chocolate chunk cookies, roughly $10 for the whole box, about 33 cents per pack. Clean ingredients, nut-free bakery, the kind of thing parents put in their kids' lunchboxes without worrying about labels. They became a staple. Then the same cocoa price problem that hit the chocolate chips hit these cookies. The product started seeing spotty inventory in late 2025. By early 2026, many warehouses had no stock at all. As of the most recent reports, the item remains listed in some Canadian locations, which gives a slim hope for a return if cocoa markets normalize. I bought 2 boxes before inventory dried up near me. 60 individual cookie packs for about $20. At any grocery store or convenience shop, a single-serve cookie pack runs anywhere from $1 to $1.50. The math on Costco's version was extraordinary. Individually packaged items like this store well when kept in a dry location away from heat. Use them within the printed best buy date for best texture, but sealed packaging protects quality well. When this comes back, and I believe it will, stock heavily. These are one of the clearest examples of Costco value that's been quietly removed. Product number 14. Kirkland Signature Organic Orange Juice. Orange juice is in a genuine supply crisis right now, and Costco's private label version is feeling the pressure directly. Citrus greening disease, hurricane damage, and ongoing trade pressures have decimated Florida's orange crop. Crop yields for the 2024 to 2025 season were forecast to drop around 30%. A historic low not seen in modern memory. That's not a bad year. That's a structural collapse of the domestic orange juice supply base. Costco's Kirkland Organic OJ 2-pack has climbed significantly in price. A 2-pack that sold for around $11 a couple of years ago has been inching toward $15 and beyond. Shoppers on forums have flagged what appears to be a shrinkflation move as well. What used to come in 3-packs briefly became 2-packs at similar pricing. I noticed the price jump about 18 months ago, and I started buying an extra 2-pack each visit. OJ doesn't store the way canned goods do, obviously, but I prioritize buying it every trip rather than running out and paying full grocery store prices. If Costco's OJ pricing continues to climb, the product becomes a candidate for being pulled from the private label and replaced entirely by a branded option at a higher cost to the shopper. Watch this one carefully. The underlying supply chain is not going to recover quickly, and prices for orange juice across all retailers are trending in one direction only. Product number 15. Kirkland Signature Organic. Kirkland Colombian whole bean coffee weight. Didn't we already cover coffee? Yes. But this second coffee entry is important because it reflects a different product with its own trajectory, and the broader point is this. Costco's coffee lineup as a whole is under pressure. The Colombian whole bean format has seen different price moves than the Guatemalan variety, and some warehouses have experienced stock inconsistencies that go beyond normal turnover. When 2 different SKUs in the same category show stress simultaneously, that's a pattern worth noting. It tells you the supply chain issue isn't about one origin country. It's systemic. Global coffee production is in a difficult period, and the low price window at Costco for any whole bean option may be narrowing. I have a vacuum-sealed emergency coffee stash in my deep freezer, 2 bags that are sealed, unopened. That's my backup for when the price at any retailer jumps above what I'm willing to pay. I know they'll be there, full quality, waiting. Whole bean freezes extremely well when vacuum-sealed before freezing. Grind from frozen for best results. This is genuinely one of the most effective pantry prep moves for coffee households. Make a habit of grabbing an extra bag when you see a price you trust. You will almost certainly use it. Let me tell you what I see across all 15 of these items. This is not a coincidence. This is a pattern. Supply chains are under sustained pressure from weather events, input cost inflation, and shifting production economics. Private label products, the ones that depend on tight margins to survive, are the most vulnerable. When Costco can no longer offer a price that beats the market by enough to justify the Kirkland label, the product gets cut, reduced, or reformulated, and the timing is rarely announced. That asterisk on the price tag, the one shoppers call the Death Star, is sometimes the only warning you get. If you're lucky, you notice it. If you're not, you show up next Tuesday, and the shelf is different. You now know what to watch. You know which items are already gone, which ones are climbing in price, and which ones are quietly under pressure. That puts you ahead of most people walking into Costco right now. This is not about panic buying. It's about buying smart. Buying before the rush. Buying when the price is right. Not when the shelf is empty and your options are gone. The people who prepared quietly are the ones who never feel the squeeze when things change. If this gave you a heads up on even one item you would have missed, hit that like button. It helps more people find this channel and stay informed. Subscribe so you get the next alert before things change again. I'm watching these shelves so you don't have to do it alone. Thank you for being here. I'll see you in the next one.